and welcome to the North Bank Podcast. I'm your host, Holly, and I'm joined by Stef, and welcome back, Chris.
Yay!
Woohoo.
Come back.
Did you miss me?
Chris has come back.
Did you miss me, eh?
Yeah,
No.
well, you're the star, so...
Oh, shucks, guys. Come on.
We're nothing. We're not a double act. We're a
These
triple act.
Huge
A trio.
echoing silences that I had to edit while I was away. And you two just staring into the ether.
Sad.
What do we say?
We've got quite a bit to say today, have we? Well, I don't know. We've got to talk about Liverpool from a couple of days ago now. And we're looking forward to Newcastle, our last home game of the season, a season which can't end quick enough, as far as I'm concerned. But, Steph, you're looking quizzical. What's up?
Oh, you said looking forward to Newcastle, and I fundamentally disagree with the word forward. I'm
Looking ahead.
I'm looking ahead to it, but I'm not looking forward to it.
Sorry. I think there's probably quite a few people looking forward to it as well. It's last home game of the season. It's just so nice to draw a line under the season. I know we've got to go away to Southampton, and we've still got to get 1 point that will secure Champions League football, although I suspect other results may well go the way that we probably won't need to get that additional point. Our goal difference is far superior. It's worth that extra point if teams are level on points with us. But Steph, you were at the Liverpool game, and I did not envy you going to the Liverpool game after what happened in Paris, where you were... No, you didn't go to Paris, did you? No. But having had that experience of the crushing defeat, the familiarity of why we lost and so on, we're not going to go into. The last game I wanted to look ahead to was Anfield, not just because it's a tough hunting ground for us traditionally, but because they're the champions and they were going to rub our faces in it royally. And although they lost their previous game at Chelsea, I was fully expecting a fully strength team, which they did pick, and I thought they would absolutely be hell-bent on sending us packing, tail between legs, humiliated by a 5 or 6-0 defeat. And full disclosure, because of tutoring commitments, I watched the first 30 minutes and I was convinced that's exactly what was going to happen. So I was very, very impressed with our second half performance and the result and the resilience and the mental fortitude that we so clearly showed in that second half. I think that's and a deserved draw, and we could have nicked it. It could have gone either way as well, even after we were reduced to 10 men. But anyway, rewinding back, Declan Rice, in probably the least surprising news of the entire season, Declan Rice has picked up a bit of a hamstring issue. How serious it is, we don't know, but by Arsenal's measurement, not very serious, could be 2 months out. We don't know. But again, he's played the most minutes. I think the only player who's played more minutes this season for Arsenal is Saliba at centre-back. And he's started making a few little mistakes. Might be because of the absence of Gabriel alongside him. However, I think it's probably more down to just mental fatigue, physical fatigue. So, no Declan Rice. We suggested that Ben White would come in at right back, and he did come in at right back. I was surprised that Lewis Skelly played at left back. I thought that one of our other 55 left backs would get a start.
Well, they all got on.
Skelly would get a rest. They all got on, indeed. Well, we'll be grateful for them. When we go to pick our team against Newcastle, I think my team's full of left backs, not necessarily playing at left back, but anyway. And so, Steph, you were at the game. What was the atmosphere like? Was it jubilant from the home crowd in the build-up to the game? I know that there's been lots spoken about the various kind of flare points, pinch points in the game from the Liverpool perspective. I know that the Arsenal players honoured the Hillsborough Memorial before the game and made a big donation to the Liverpool Food Bank, and which is, again, brilliant, class of the club and so on, as it should be. We did the Guard of Honour. That was as it should have been. That nonsense spoken about people, from people like Troy Deeney. Oh no, it's a sign of a winner. It's like, no, like they were the better team. They won the league. They deserved it. Good on them. Guard of Honour. Use that as your motivation for next season. Make sure that someone is giving us the Guard of Honour next season. This time next year. So what was the build? How did you get yourself up for it mentally? First of all, what was the atmosphere in the Arsenal concourse and in the pub around Anfield, or the streets around Anfield before the game?
Of course, it wasn't as vociferous as it might have been. Were there anything on the game more than us trying to secure that Champions League berth? But I think there was an element of, and it's probably this positivity that's built in these last few years, a sign that, as heartbreaking as it is to go out to Paris Saint-Germain in the semi-final of the Champions League, the last British club in the Champions League, it's also, the response was, but we still love these players, and we still like what the manager's doing, albeit we know that there's a shortfall there. And I personally, I don't know, I had a sense of defiance about going up there, because as someone who's gone home and away, even abroad this year, to follow Arsenal, I'm not going to not go to Anfield and support my team and my club, because we still need those points. There's something vaguely riding on it. But at the same time, I also go because I went with the people I went with and hung out and had a nice day, and we took the mick going up, and we certainly took the mick coming back, and all that kind of thing. So, that's kind of just what I do. I don't even think about it. It's not even a question not to go. My only question about when I don't go to a game is if I've got to go to some spring dairy goat show or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Or a cheese making course. That's why I didn't go to Newcastle, if you remember, earlier this season.
Yes.
That's as good as Chris's reason for not going. What were you sitting on a little Lego train going around Legoland at one point?
That was it.
Yep.
Whereas I'm just always tutoring. So
yeah, exactly. Just work. So I mean, look, it was fine. The atmosphere, everyone was a bit kind of like, here we go. And the Liverpool fans were like that. I think on the whole, actually, Liverpool fans were generally pretty good. The ones that we spoke to, there was the odd, prat who would try and sort of wind it in. My favourite one was as we were leaving, me and my pal George, who were there, a Liverpool fan sort of came up to him in a vaguely aggressive, probably just half drunk kind of way. It was just like, hey, time for Lego Head to go, is it? Is what he said. And my friend George, quick as a flash, just went, no. Straight away. And he couldn't believe it. He was indignant. Like, what? Why? It's just like, because, he's done all right so far, and he might do better. And changing anything, what's that going to do? Bring more change, more chaos, uncertainty. We're not united.
yeah, can I just say that my feed froze. I have no idea what you just said. I just came back in.
Oh, it was great.
Lego Head. That's all I heard was Lego Head.
It was all really good. Don't worry.
Were you still talking about Chris in Legoland is what I'm curious
exactly.
about.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Is that your new nickname, Chris? Lego Head?
Lego. Yeah. It was Sean Dyche. It was Lego Sean Dyche that I encountered at Legoland.
That was Everton.
That's right.
Away. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. So I take it there was a bit of banter against Arteta. I saw there was some cardboard
Banners.
cutouts of him.
That's done the. I mean, that's been very well kind of publicised now. That thing that was mocked up by someone, and I sort of apply the Holly principle to this. Is like, how would you feel if it was our fans doing that and you were sat in the ground?
A cringe.
You would think that's a bit naff, and also
naff.
we're here to celebrate our team winning the Premier League.
Yes, it's
We're in
about
their
us.
heads.
Why are you flipping it?
I don't give
and
anything
this
about
isn't
it.
like this is not a blanket thing that all Liverpool fans would agree with what this guy did, but it's just, like I said, I applied my sort of like, okay, what would I think if that guy was stood next to me in the Emirates?
And there's the Erdegaard one when he's taking a photograph.
All of it.
Like full size cardboard cutout of
Are
Martin
we in their
Odegaard.
heads a bit, do you think?
Yeah.
Well, for some. But then I wonder as well, in the sense that it's almost like there are a certain section of fans whose joy they derive from football is from rival fans' misery. And that's it.
Which is fine when you're not winning anything. So it's the Spurs principle that you're talking about. The only joy they derive is from our failure, perceived failure.
So
because
which
they
is
don't win
why
anything.
I think it's more of a notable thing to see, here's Liverpool. They've won the league. They've walked the league. They've clearly been the best team. Got the best player in Salah, arguably, in the league. Like you say, make it all about you. Yes. Make it about those brilliant players that have delivered you a league title. Why do you care about us? It makes no sense.
Can I say there's two things on that? I think as a fan base, as a club, they're smarting at the perceived lack of respect or merit that they're getting. It's the discourse about this league campaign seems to be about how bad the opposition have been rather than how good Liverpool have been.
Both are true.
And yeah, so I think they're smart. Can I just go back to? Was it you, Chris, saying it? I think the issue is fans like our AFTV. Mm-hmm. They've created that outrage,
performative anger.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's a lot. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when Arsenal Fan TV started first, and I didn't know another Arsenal fan in my circle who actually watched it.
Nope.
But I knew a hell of a lot of Spurs and Chelsea and United and Liverpool fans who did.
Yep.
And I would say the majority of their subscribers on YouTube were fans of other clubs. And I think, if you think about it, they must be, are they 10, 12, 15 years old? I don't know how long they've been running, but a long time.
Wow.
So there's a whole generation of fans now who have grown up on that. You said performative anger, absolutely. And that's how they're conditioned to think. So it is. Let's laugh at them. Let's laugh at them.
It's all about
let's
the
make
extremes.
Exactly, and that's. I think maybe there's a disconnect between us, and that. I want to say generation, because I know plenty of young Arsenal fans who couldn't give a monkeys about Arsenal Fan TV as well. But I think they've got quite a lot to answer for, really, in terms of fan culture and fan behaviour.
Can I say that then there is still a space for, a bit of a laugh and a joke? People your team's a bit rubbish. I know your team's a bit rubbish and blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, well done on doing that and well done on doing that. That's fine, because I know from a couple of videos that I've posted that look, I'm not a serious person. It's not what it is. Most of the things I sort of say and do are very tongue-in-cheek, and that's fine. And as much as I find it funny, it's almost like some fans I've spoken to, they want me to be angry about it. And there probably was a time when I was a lot younger, I think I've mentioned before, if in my late teens, maybe early 20s, I probably would have been angry. A bad result would upset my week rather than just the next 5 minutes. And I think you've said, Holly, very brilliantly, it's like you get to a point in life where you're like, no, football's important, but it's not so important that it's going to affect other parts of my life, because other parts of my life are just as, if not more important. And so posting out things that are tongue-in-cheek, it's amazing how many people really take it seriously and respond in a way. And then when I respond with something, have that, again, it just aren't you ashamed? Aren't you disappointed? Don't you want to change everything? No, not really. What are you going to do?
Can I just say for mine and Chris's benefit here that Steph does all our posting on social media. So
I am the social media manager, so if anyone's got beef...
If anyone wants to come after any of us...
If you can find me... If you can find me in deepest, darkest Norfolk, okay?
It's true.
I'll be the one eating marmalade. Yeah.
You do wear the hat, so you're all right. You've got that covered. What have you got under there? Yeah. I've lost my my brilliantly planned.
Let's talk about the football
podcast notes. I haven't got a clue what's next. So you were talking us through the build up, the atmosphere, the sense, the feeling, but the fan response, and so we made a pretty good start. Saka, that freak, I don't know if you see, I'm assuming, Steph, you've seen it, the free kick routine again. That is brilliant, by the way, because teams have started to do that against us. So, and I watched Saka, he just stood, there was no interest or perceived interest, him to the ball, the free kick taker. And as everyone ran out, he was miles onside.
Brilliant.
And a clinical, fully fit Saka would have buried that, I think. I mean, I did. Every time we miss a chance in the first 15 minutes, I just think of you, Chris. and I fear for you. But that he should have scored that. And then there was, I haven't seen it again, but I've heard it talked about. These kind of Trossard and Partey kind of contrived to kind of mess up another glorious opportunity. And then Liverpool scored.
The Chuckle Brothers, basically. It was to me, to you.
To me, to you.
Yeah.
So, Steph, how was it in the ground then? With the start we made was decent, but then Liverpool 2 goals in like a minute, 2 minutes. Like, oh, here we go again, surely.
Well, I was getting flashbacks of PSG at home, and others that I was with, some of them were getting flashbacks of PSG away as well, in the way that, and Liverpool have done it most of the season, in that Salah is always your outlet, in the way that Hazard used to be for Chelsea. So he's not really expected to do a huge amount defensively. He'll press high up, but ultimately he's there so that if Liverpool need to relieve pressure, they'll just ping out a diagonal towards him and hope that he can occupy the fullback or maybe beat the fullback and go from there. But when they did break, it was in numbers, it was quick, it was direct, it was everything that we don't do going forward. So when they score and then score very quickly again, that's when alarm bells set in. Because before then, people were just kind of like, be nice to get anything out of this.
They had a few chances as well, didn't they? Glorious chances in and around those 2 goals as well.
Yep. So we're all thinking, we're getting flashbacks to, I think it was 5-1, wasn't it, at Anfield one season, where it was almost like 4-0 at half-time or whatever, and we wondered if it was there. Because you could totally understand it as well from a human point of view, why the Arsenal players might just be spent in some way as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's not the standards that we, are striving for, and I get that. But yeah, I mean, everything was on the Champions League, wasn't it? So a few days later, you're playing the champions. Yeah, it could have been an overwhelming task. So it was brilliant that we showed something.
And they're contrasted with their freedom, as in the Liverpool players' freedom, no pressure at all. So it was. At that point, I was fearing the worst. I mean, delighted to get to half-time 0-0. Yep. Now, we know from Arteta's post-match presser that he was absolutely livid at half-time with that first-half performance. Where do you stand on what he said post-match, or the tone of what he said? He was very, very critical of the first half and almost dismissive in his praise of the second half. He talked about that. Don't want to be a reactionary team. We want to be. What's it? The action.
Action, not reaction.
Yeah. So
proactive, not reactive.
Yeah. Where do you stand on that? So, Chris, because you kind of had a more kind of less emotively involved take on experience of the game. Where do you stand on that?
I warmly welcome it. I just think that's the right kind of attitude to have. Is that you don't want to, context and all. I can appreciate that, particularly for the first goal. I think we just switched off in a way that we'd never done before. That was just so slack. But he's quite right to give them a bit of a rocket and say, no, there has to be a kind of bottom at which you operate, regardless of context. And, if it's a dead rubber or not, you have to keep those standards, the Foggy standards. There is that kind of flaw.
And it clearly works.
Yeah.
So I was shocked. I was tutoring a group, and one of them was an Arsenal fan. I was doing a Zoom session online, and it was him that said, "Hey, we've just got one back," and I'm like, "What? Fantastic!" Yeah. So, Steph, in the ground, hope. Martinelli scored.
Yeah, fine. It was a game that was quite difficult to feel anything hugely strongly about, but we'll always welcome the team's effort, and that was the most pleasing thing. So there's a little bit of pride restored in that second half. And
have you heard the stat or been reminded of the stat regarding Martinelli?
Oh, about Martinelli, yes, he's now our record player for games he's scored in. Yeah,
well, he's never. If he scores, we don't lose.
He's the new Gabriel Jesus.
45 games.
Good.
That's incredible.
So he needs to score more.
Well, that's what he said. I should try and score in every game. Isn't that what you try and do? No. Okay.
Yeah. What have you been doing before?
Yeah.
Well, it was good seeing him switch the way that he did with Trossard. That was a really good because it bamboozled Liverpool. I think for the goal particularly. If that was Arsenal defending that, I'd be pretty pissed off because they gave Trossard way too much time, and Martinelli pulled off his marker.
Well, he ran
easily.
straight. He ghosted past Van Dijk, and then in between the two. But is that something? Why didn't we try Martinelli through the middle more often after our striker mishaps?
Well, it's that switching. I think if you start with him and he's there as a nailed number 9. Then I think it's different in the way that they were into what's the word?
Acting, playing,
interplay,
whatever,
interweaving, interchanging.
That's a nice word.
Interchanging.
Yeah.
Inter Milan.
Damn it! It's football.
Yes, the interchange was.
He went for my word. Yes,
unpredictable, and I think that's what we've been is very predictable, and so I embrace anything that is unpredictable at the moment from us.
Variety, absolutely. One of the things that we're looking for as a fan base for next season is greater variety. And I think I'm not going to just as a reference the potential Zubimendi signing. I know that in our WhatsApp group we kind of pontificated over what where and how and what and so on. And I think that the consensus is that he's not a number 6 on his own. He's part of a double pivot. And I think Steph, you said he's a Jorginho replacement, not a Partey replacement. And but I think it adds variety. It adds that, and that's
as a striker would as well, having a focal point. Well, I mean,
striker, what's that?
What kind of madness is this?
You've been off too long, Chris. You've been off too long.
I know. I've been
you
on the funny
idealist.
phase, haven't I? Yeah. But yeah, you know what I mean. A true focal point.
This is what the fan base are here for, Chris. This insight.
I know. It's withering insight.
Fucking striker. That's what it is.
But you know what I mean. A back to goal, proper, true number 9. Put it into him, and the runs that we've missed. That we bemoaned in the PSG game where Saka was putting them in there. Someone with an instinct to just have a go and have a run. And got me thinking about, well, which of our players could do that? Is it coachable? And I think it is. It's just one of those things you need to do on the training ground and say, every time he gets it and does that, you run in.
Well, you have to say that Marino's actually done extremely well as a makeshift centre forward. Okay, instinctively he hasn't been like was it against? So he was playing deep. No, he wasn't. He was playing further forward in the second game against PSG. But he doesn't have that instinct of the striker. Go on, Steph. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, I seem to remember reports about how Arteta had done some one-to-one coaching with Sterling at Man City to improve his anticipation, his wanting to get on the end of things and just trying to read a certain pattern of play.
It's ironic, isn't it?
Well, the irony being, that Sterling's come to here and has done absolutely sweet FA. So, swings and roundabouts. But, like you say, it's doable, surely. I mean, Martinelli's 23. He's on the edge of his peak years. So, who knows?
I think the thing that sums up the game almost for me is just the stepping back and thinking, what do we take from this and moving forward? In terms of things like that, the interchangeability of your Trossard and Martinelli together, could that work next season if they're both still with us?
Jesus, stop, Chris. We're having such a good time.
He's injured.
But I think something else. So, following on from that, Chris, about what do you take from it? I take the psychological impact or not impact or consequence of them not stuffing us. They didn't send us packing. We actually came out of that game with a very, very creditable 2-2 draw. It's actually only the third time in Premier League history that they've not won a game whilst leading 2-0 by 2 goals at half time.
And it preserves our record, doesn't it, of not losing to the
big
top
six.
2 years.
And we've not lost at Anfield for 4 years now.
Wow. So, again, these things are important.
It's raising the floor.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that's incredible. We haven't lost at Anfield because it feels like we get hammered.
Well, we haven't won since 2012, so that's 13 years. So we'll leave
Statistics,
that. That's a good one. But like you say, haven't lost in 4 years. And this is the idea, isn't it? Progress leading to success is not a sudden jump. It's
incremental.
It's incremental, and I think we're doing it the incremental way. And because look, Leicester was maybe an aberration, all the stars aligning and things like that, but generally a team that's successful over a longer period of time does exactly that.
Yeah, Fergie did it with United. Yeah. Pep did it with City.
I love your point. You know, when we last spoke, you told me that Fergie's United might be the aberration.
Yeah.
I'm telling everyone that now. It is blowing minds. It is brilliant.
But the record speaks for itself. That is actually.
But
true.
no one thinks like that. I didn't think like that until now. It's great.
One of my oldest mates is a big Man United fan, and he picked that episode to be his first podcast. He was very complimentary, and then he messaged me, says, you've come after United. I'm like, oh crap. He's on that bit.
Generally, if you listen to most episodes, after about 40 minutes, that's where we end up.
Well, I do, because I'm scarred. So
we are supporting them in the Europa Cup.
Me and you are, Chris. He's not.
This is an ongoing therapy session for me, trying to deal with my United trauma.
Anyway.
Yeah. Let's not talk about that, because
got Liverpool trauma to deal with first.
Anything else to say about the game itself?
Well, can I talk about, sort of combining the game but also the atmosphere as well, is that, like you say, it's almost like Liverpool soured it for themselves. Because that second half, not only did we have our comeback, there was a lot of energy that Liverpool fans seemed to direct at their own player, which detracted from the whole occasion. And I've heard since from many very apparently reasonable Liverpool fans in our comment section saying that basically, the real party is going to be when we actually lift the trophy. It's like, no. The party starts when you've won the league, technically, mathematically or whatever, and it doesn't stop until the season starts next year, and even beyond maybe. So I don't buy into that at all. I genuinely think that the atmosphere in the home end turned because Trent Alexander-Arnold went for a jog down the touchline. And all of a sudden it was like, oh yeah, boo, we don't like him, do we? Yeah. Arsenal are coming back into it, so we don't like that, so we're going to turn our attention to him. All very weird, very weird.
Well, okay, you say that, and the booing when he came on was pretty... I don't know how it sounded in the ground
horrific.
Itself, but what got me more than that was then the continuous booing of his every touch.
It's rotten.
That was like, but I was trying to imagine what it would be like for us, and I go back to Ashley Cole going to Chelsea now, and the kind of vilification he's received ever since that happened. Okay, look, it's the closest I can come to. And the slight difference in context is that Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to Real Madrid.
Exactly.
He's not going to a rival.
Chelsea.
I don't remember us booing Ashley Cole when he was still an Arsenal player, though.
No, but it didn't happen. It happened in the close season. But that's what I'm saying. If that had happened, he'd run...
Samir Nasri is the last one I can remember where there was a bit of... Not even, it wasn't indifference. It was a kind of.
It was a negative reaction to him.
He's pushing for a move. There was a little bit of unrest in the crowd, but it wasn't like that vitriolic booing that you heard it.
And even if it was, Nasri's not a Hale End, academy graduate who grew up an absolute gooner.
That's why I went to Ashley Cole.
And he's gone to Man City. Okay, the money club, he's a mercenary all of a sudden. Alexander-Arnold
Spurs.
But again,
I think the issue Liverpool fans seem to have is that he ran down his contract, so they've got no money for him. They're not objecting to the club of his destination, like Real Madrid. It's more the fact that they've lost a £60 million player for nothing, and that he's deliberately run that down. But he's honoured his contract, he's won everything for them. I can understand. I can understand them being upset with him. I get that he's one of their own and he's leaving them, and I get that. I have no issue with how they're feeling, but letting him know. I think there were some Liverpool fans I saw. They were, oh look, the week before he was kissing the badge and celebrating with the crowds after the, clinching the league title, and they saw that as then like this about turn, 180-degree pivot, betrayal. when the announcement came out 2 days later that he's going to Real Madrid. It's like, but it was the booing every time he touched the ball. I'm like, you've just won the league.
Do you know when they weren't booing?
Yeah,
when he
just
was
a free
lining up
kick.
for that free kick at the end. Because they wouldn't be booing if he scored that. Oh, fickle football fans. That's all it is. It's fickle football fans.
I love Jamie Carragher tying himself up in knots, going from 1 week saying no one's got the right to tell fans how to behave to telling fans how to behave to telling fans they've got no right. Like,
Why aren't more... I'm actually surprised at Slot not directly calling it out. Someone posted online an article or an article that quoted Wenger when the whole Ashley Cole situation came out, and just very dignified. No one deserves abuse. You might be disappointed with his decision, but while he's an Arsenal player, we try and support. That's essentially what Wenger said. Whereas Slot, they've done this apology. Robertson did it in the post-match as well, where they do this thing as just like, yeah, it's disappointing, but you can't tell fans how to react. No, you can, because if fans are racist or anti-Semitic, you sure as hell tell them to stop. And I'm not equating the two. This is obviously not as serious as that. But at the end of the day, it's a human being, and just like he's decided to go work for a different employer. And I know, look, we're fans and we're emotionally attached, but also it's like you, Chris. You said about that banner earlier. I think what the point I'm trying to get to is this. How would you feel next to someone who was booing? And if I was next to someone who was booing Alexander Arnold, I don't know if I'd be happy about that.
no,
I never
wouldn't be
like booing our own players, regardless. In the same way that I don't spend ages jeering the opposition, really. I spend more time trying to chant and cheer for our own
unless
team.
he's called Haaland.
That game was an exception, and look, I have to hold my hands up. I do apologise. My head went head loss, rush moment. Sorry.
Can I use what you've just said there as a really clever segue into my next comment? You've mentioned Wenger. Today is 7 years since he took charge of Arsenal for the final time.
I was there.
So it's 7 years today. Okay, what was the score? What was the ground?
Oh, it's Huddersfield.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember a thing about the game.
We won 1-0.
Did we? Oh, nice.
We did.
I saw Patrick Stewart that day, just to put it out there.
Okay, excellent. Aubameyang scored. But there's a couple of little things about this. That's the John Smith Stadium.
It is. Rugby.
And that was the 48th Premier League away ground Wenger won at, to put him one ahead of Sir Alex Ferguson. I just thought that was pretty nice little way to... Sorry, mate.
Stat Dad delivers. Boom.
On the stats then, have a go at naming his starting 11.
Oh, can I go first? Aubameyang.
How did you know? Okay, yeah. Who is his strike partner? Come on, that's the easy one. Lacazette, right.
Lack of threat.
I still haven't forgiven him and Leon for going out to United the way they did in the Europa League. But anyway.
Robert Holding.
Yes, he was our centre-back, left centre-back.
Nacho Monreal.
Okay, Monreal, no. Xhaka was in midfield, yes. Monreal was on the bench. He came off the bench.
Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
Also came off the bench.
Mustafi.
Was the other centre-back.
Your big German in goal, what's his chops at Fulham?
Leno.
Thank you.
No.
David Ospina.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, this team is so bad.
I've got no wingers. I've got no wingers
so
in my
bad.
Pepe.
No.
Oh, he came later, didn't he?
There is one winger who actually played in this season's Champions League semi-finals.
Mkhitaryan.
Yes.
God.
He's only 51, I think.
He's in the final.
He is.
Mkhitaryan annoys me. Do you know why? Because in his late 20s, he started going bald. And I assumed that would carry on in a natural trajectory. But it's just stopped. He's as bald as he was in his late 20s as he is now in his very mid-30s. Which, there's a reason I wear this hat. That's all I'm putting out there.
Well, at least he hasn't gone for the full thatch thing that a lot of them do, like the Rooney look.
Back to the team.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, all right.
You've only got 4 players to go.
Which
two
positions?
fullbacks. Two fullbacks. You should get one of them.
Bellerin.
Yeah. Left back. I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, again, you'll know who he is.
What nationality? Come on, don't want to keep people.
Oh crap!
waiting.
The fact you don't know, it's going to be Sead Kolasinac.
It is, yeah.
The fact you don't know.
Where's he from?
Croatian, isn't he?
I thought he was Serbian or something. I don't
There you
know.
Oh
go.
God,
I
he'll be
didn't know.
after us now.
Yeah, exactly.
Serbia.
He'll track us
Don't want
down
him
like
after
those
you.
moped
You
thieves.
don't want him after you. Okay, two midfielders. Two. In fact,
Was Ramsey there?
Yeah, Ramsey played. He's listed as the right winger, but I think it's not. He was in midfield, and the other player would have been on the right. Who's still playing?
4-2-3-1.
He's still playing in the Premier League.
Iwobi.
Yes, there you go. So Ospina, Bellerin, Mustafi, Holding, Kolasinac, Ramsey, Iwobi, Ramsey, Xhaka, Mkhitaryan, and Lacazette and Aubameyang up front. Oh, that is so bad.
It's not ideal, is it?
That's 7 years ago.
Exactly. And we've had Arteta for 5. That's
Alexis
what he has to
Sanchez
do.
was in the team. Sanchez and Jack Wilshere were also in the squad, but they didn't play that on that day. So
Shock.
that does make the team a little bit better with those two in it. But yeah, I just thought that was quite interesting, and I love no one's won on more Premier League away grounds than Wenger.
Nice.
So there you go. Shall we move on to Newcastle? Shall we look ahead to Newcastle?
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the table. Are they 3 points behind us?
Aren't they just 1 or 2?
No, I think they're 3.
Have
a look.
Have
know,
a look.
mate.
Because I think if they win, they go level, but their goal difference is that inferior. They'd need to beat us by about 6 or 7.
Okay.
Chris, while he's doing that,
Sorry.
how are you feeling about Newcastle on Sunday? Are you looking forward to it or looking ahead to it?
No, I'm not. Just because, well, they've stuffed us 3 times and we haven't scored against them all season, so they've kind of got a number a bit, and I just feel like we are going to be weakened. There will still be, I think, a bit of we only need a point. Deep down, we know it's not vital that we win. So
you said we're weakened. Just on that, Marino's obviously suspended. We've got the regulars who are out. Havertz was rumoured to be back before the end of the season. Well, he's only got 1 game, but even if he is available, he'll not start against Newcastle. So then there are doubts over Rice, Trossard, Jorginho and Timber. So it's like, go on, how have you managed to find a team out of the rest of them?
Well, it is cobbled together a bit because of the question marks against all of those. So I've got Raya in goal, White, right back, Saliba, Kivior and Calafiori at left back. And then in midfield, I've got Odegaard, Partey and MLS. And then the front line, Saka and then Trossard with a big question mark because I don't know if he'll make it, with Martinelli on the left. And I'm at a loss as to who to play if Trossard doesn't make it, because then we're into the kind of...
Waneri?
As a 9?
No.
Unless you move...
Martinelli into the middle.
Martinelli into the 9, I suppose. Yeah. There's a thing about Waneri, and I don't know whether or not they're just protecting him from an injury, or it's the sense that he's played quite a lot of minutes already and they're just trying to... I don't know, but it is bizarre that he hasn't had more time, isn't it?
It's got to be a duty of care thing. He's 18, is he now? And he's featured in something I saw. It was about 35 games, I think, and that's
they haven't had the same approach to Lewis Skelly though.
I was going to say
Lewis Skelly started a bit later, so you're probably looking at a similar sort of volume or number. I don't know, but then
But everyone's different. Everyone's posting different
exactly.
stats when they do their oxygens and all the levels that they do, and they go, "Oh, look at him, MLS. He's like a 25-year-old." You just don't know what they're reading into. So that's my team.
Okay, Steph, what about you?
Right. When I picked this team, knowing that there was people out, I forgot about Miles Lewis Skelly. But I'm going to give you the team. I'm going to give you the team that I've got anyway. I've got Raya in goal, White, Saliba, Kivior, Calafiori. So I've gone with that, same as you. I've got a midfield 3 of Odegaard, Partey, and Zinchenko, because he's played in midfield.
I've done that.
And, similar, Marino's not available. It is what it is. Okay. Front line, Saka. I've got Martinelli. And, lads, I think it's time.
Sterling.
We're playing Tierney on the left wing. It's going to happen.
Last home game.
His last home game. I might bring a Tesco bag to the game, especially. I think if we all brought Tesco bags and held them up and turned the stadium white and blue striped.
And red.
I think it's time. I mean, he came on and basically played in that position late on against Liverpool anyway. So I've sort of picked the team that finished against Liverpool. But I did forget about Lewis Skelly until you said him there. I was like, oh yeah, he might feature somewhere. But I just want Tierney up front, and I want him to score a goal.
Yeah, I think we'd all get behind that. I've gone for Raya in goal. Back four, White, Saliba, Kivior. I've got Lewis Skelly playing at left back. Midfield three, same as yours, Steph. Partey, Zinchenko, Erdegaard. I've got Saka on the right, Martinelli through the middle, and then I've got three players on the left.
Nice. Is one of them Calafiori?
One of them is Calafiori, yes.
I did wonder. I've heard a couple of people sort of spitball that, or maybe even play him as the number 9.
He's I think the one I'd go for, because I've got Sterling. I just don't see the point. Wanyeri, I like the idea of him playing, but only playing either in the middle in Erdegaard's kind of area or on the right in Saka's kind of area. So
got to think
I don't want to see him on the left.
No. Also got to think about who he matches up with for Newcastle as well. So, you know, if he's got to do defensive duties against Gordon, I'd rather he didn't.
Yeah. So I've plumped for Calafiori as starting on the left. I think he's quite an offensive player, as in
he's very composed.
Really,
attacking.
Not offensive as in attacking.
Not John Terry offensive, but
no.
You know.
I don't. For some reason, there's whatever Champions League final that was that they lost on penalties because he missed that final penalty.
Oh, that was against United in 2008.
It was at Makalele's. Someone's come out with the book, obviously, and it keeps doing the rounds that they'd agreed the penalty takers before the game and practiced them before the game. John Terry wasn't taking one. Solomon Kalou was the one supposed to take that 5th penalty, but John Terry decided to take it. And then karma, fantastic.
What?
Couldn't happen to a nicer fella.
Wanted to be the hero.
Plonker.
Yeah.
That explains the whole full kit thing he did when they did win it, but he wasn't available. I mean, main character energy or what? Yeah.
Yeah. Chris, Cole, just before we predict our scores, I was the only one that predicted a draw at Anfield, so well done me. So that's got to make my points tally improved somewhat. And
for the Predictor League, or for what you think Arsenal might have got?
Well, ironically, it takes me further away from what Arsenal are getting because I've given them a point. But in the Predictor League, it gives me some
a glimmer of hope going into the final 2 games. You're still mathematically in it.
Am I? Okay. Chris, score.
1-1.
Steph, score.
2-1 Newcastle.
I've gone for 1-1 as well.
Oh.
I think we're safe. I mean, who do we want? I was looking at this couple of the remaining fixtures.
Sorry.
1-1.
You said 1-1.
I was looking at a couple of the remaining fixtures. I think Villa will win their remaining 2 games.
Ooh.
I think they play United. Do they play United? I can't remember. I looked at it. I thought their last 2 games are quite winnable. Which means that if Forest can beat whoever Forest are playing at the weekend, if they can win that game, it probably might mean that if they beat Chelsea on the last game of the season at the City Ground, they could still qualify
at the
for the
expense
Champions
of Chelsea, which would
at
be
the expense
glorious.
of Chelsea. Yeah. That would be.
I'd enjoy that.
That would be nice. Yeah.
What would Chelsea qualify? I mean, so conference presumably jumps up to Europa, but they'd qualify for Europa in the league position anyway.
Yeah, so
Brilliant.
they'd obviously. So I think that's why 9th can get conference or something like that. Yeah, that's why these two like the Bournemouth and Brighton, they are fighting for and Fulham, they are fighting for a European place, but they just don't know how many places will be available yet. Anyway, anything. I think I'm all out. That's everything
We'll get a chance to see the new kit on Sunday,
that's right.
I believe, which has got this kind of slightly retro, but it's got that white piping that we had, which reminds me of Reyes for some reason. You know, that white piping on the home kit?
Yeah.
With the red Adidas 3 lions. It's all right.
If the leaked ones that I've seen are the ones that are coming up, it might be a season where I end up with all 3 shirts. And this is after 2 years of basically not liking any of our shirts. So, although the third kit the season before was beautiful, the green number with the grandad collar, with the button collar, that was great.
What colour was that?
It was green.
Green.
Remember the green third kit we had?
Yeah.
That had like a little button collar thing. That was lovely, but all the other kits have been atrocious. We had disco worms, if you remember that one, and then this year we got Lynx Africa. Nah, not for me.
The black gold was...
Oh, that was lovely.
There.
Yeah, that was great.
The green one just reminds me of was it 1980 or 81? Yeah. That was
JVC.
JVC,
great.
yeah.
Lovely kit.
Are we done?
I think we're done.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Is what it is.
Well, nice to have you back, Chris.
Thank you. Good
There
to
you
be
go.
back. Yeah.
We love a comeback.
Comeback king.
Yes. And
Away at Liverpool, Chris here, Rob Holding's hairline. Love it.
Whee. And let's just... it'd be nice to beat Newcastle and prevent them from getting into the Champions League so we can then have their striker, but I can't see how that's going to happen. It would be just nice to beat them anyway, period, because they have,
Bogey side.
as you said, Chris, they have caused us a few problems this season. But anyway, we'll catch up again after the game at some point next week, and we'll be looking ahead or forward to Southampton away and saying goodbye to this season, which promised so much at the start, but didn't quite deliver, I'm feeling.
Well, we were driving to Liverpool, just one last little story. Driving to Liverpool, and the guy who drives our minibus, Dave, is somewhere... we went to Madrid together and go everywhere. We also went to Preston away in October half-term in the Carabao Cup. And as we're driving to Liverpool, we see a sign for Preston. And Dave looks at me and goes, remember when we went to Preston? If I told you then that our season would pan out this way, would you be happy with it? And I went, in the league, obviously not. But that, you know what, this run in the Champions League, I can sort of already step back and go, wow, that was fun. So
we'll have plenty of time to discuss whether it's a season of progress or plateauing or regression.
Or a bit of both.
No. No. Champions League's a lucky cup competition. We're measured on the league. And we've been crap comparatively in the league compared to the previous 2 seasons. So.
Well, that'll certainly wind up the rival fans who have all won European Cups.
It's a cup competition. It's not even a Champions League. I mean, both those names are misnomers. It's not for the champions. It's not a bloody league. It's a knockout cup competition, and you're going to have a team finishing either 16th or 17th in the Premier League in the Champions League next season. I mean,
there's a podcast in this,
or several. I hope it's a long summer.
It's a long summer.
All right. Anyway, listen. Thanks for the chat. Enjoy the next few days. Look forward to the game, Steph. Even though you think we're going to lose, standard.
Are you going?
And I'm not going. It's the day before. It's 2 days before the next English paper, so I've got a load of students coming to the house.
Okay, fine. I get it. I'm a teacher too. It's all stressful at the minute.
Yeah. This is the busy time. We've got to make hay. I don't work over the summer.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. Cheers for that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Take care. Bye.
See ya.
Bye. The North Bank, an Arsenal podcast. Subscribe, rate and review on your app, and find us on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok at NorthBankPod. Email hello@thenorthbankafc.com and check out our website, thenorthbankafc.com. Produced by The Podcast Company.